Hi guys, good morning. Welcome to my channel. I'm Leslie. If you are new here, welcome. I talk a lot about my 50 kilo weight loss and going to therapy, and I talk a lot about dealing with depression and try and give practical advice on how I've dealt with all of these things and how I've overcome them. Today I have a video that is quite straight to the point. I'm just going to be answering a question that I have been receiving quite a lot in my videos lately, and that is how I've managed to keep the weight off. Obviously, losing 50 kilos is kind of a big deal. I do not look like how I looked a year and a half ago, and it took a lot. But like I've said before, the real challenge really is keeping it off. But today I actually have 3 things that I do and have done, 3 practical things that might help you. So the first one is lowering my carb intake. No, I'm not saying to get rid of carbs. Carbs are your friend. Carbs are not something to remove completely from your diet. However, last year I got incredibly sick and I tried so many different diets and my body just was not absorbing anything. Like, my body was intolerant to so many things. The doctors didn't know what was wrong, and so I had to go and get a colonoscopy and an endoscopy, and they found out that I had the celiac gene, and so basically I can't have gluten. Now, when I cut out gluten, this limited so many of my options, and especially with carbs. Like, there's so many things, like so many pastas and, bread and like all of these like refined carbohydrates, like in pizzas and things like donuts and even chocolate, and like there's all of these things, right? And so I've basically cut a lot of the refined carbohydrates out. But what I've found, obviously not everyone is, gluten intolerant, but what I've found is that because my carbohydrate sources are somewhat limited, I have found that lowering my carbohydrate intake has helped me tremendously. It also helped me when I was in a calorie deficit. I'm not saying to get rid of carbs, okay? I'm saying that lowering my carbohydrate intake has positively affected me. Obviously, cutting out gluten has helped me too. Like, I find that if I'm intolerant to gluten, of course, but I don't have so much fat in my face, which is usually where my weight really shows in my face. Cutting out gluten has made me less puffy, and I don't have as much brain fog. But going back to carbohydrate intake, I just feel like I was consuming such a high carbohydrate. Like, my diet was literally a carbohydrate diet, if that's even a thing. I don't know, but it was very heavy on like bread in the morning, pasta at lunch. Every meal had such a high amount of carbohydrates. And yeah, so since lowering my carbohydrate intake, it's just helped me. And I don't feel as sluggish. And no, it's not just because of the gluten. It's because I don't even try to, honestly. My meals just have less carbohydrates than they once did. The second thing is something that I talk about all the time because I love it, and that is walking. Keeping the weight off means moving your body every day. And no, I'm not telling you to go and do anything strenuous, but if you can find something like walking for me is so simple. I just throw on an outfit and I just go for my walk, put my headphones in, and I'm just walking, and I'm just, enjoying life, and I'm kind of getting my mind out and like getting back into my body, and I have such an amazing time when I walk. If we're gonna get personal with it, I didn't have a car for a while, and so I had to walk. If I wanted to leave my house, I had to walk. I am quite a homebody, but I'm not someone that can really be in the confines of my home. I love being in nature and I love being outside. And so I found that because I didn't have a car, obviously I had to turn to walking, and it's something that I really enjoy. I walk to the grocery store still. I live like 20-minute walk from the water, so I pick like a destination, I walk there and I walk back every day. It's not strenuous, it's not hard, it's easy, and I love it, and it's actually so amazing for you. I do 10,000 steps every day. If you can aim for 10,000 steps every day, I can guarantee that you will feel so good, and not just physically but mentally. Walking has just had such a positive impact on my life, and there's a reason why I bring it up so much, is because it is one of the main reasons how I can keep the weight off. And the third and last thing has been gaining a healthier relationship with myself. I am someone who has suffered with emotional eating. I'm an emotional girly. If I feel too much, or if I feel too little, if I feel lonely, or if I feel like the world is just a little bit too pushy today, or anything like that, in the past I have had a very tumultuous relationship with substituting that or covering up that by eating food. Once I started to, do the inner work, once I started to figure out who I am, and once I started to figure out why I do things, and I started to self-reflect, and I started to become more self-aware, I guess, and I added more self-care into my routines. My last video that I posted was about my self-care routines, and I urge you to go watch that. Last year I even took myself to therapy, and I worked on all of these things that are really like the root cause of why I turned to food and why I was so overweight. What was my triggers? And I started to incorporate inner work with the physical work. So I was losing weight, and as I was losing weight, I was also focusing on who I am, I guess, and I was focusing on myself and what I wanted from life, and I stopped and I decentered everything else, and I centered myself for once, and I just did a lot of internal work. And by doing the internal work, it made me respect myself more to do the physical work, and it just became like this flowing balance of every day. I didn't just lose the weight, I lost the weight gradually. And one of the ways that I lost the weight, and one of the ways that I continue to keep the weight off, is by having a better relationship with myself. And that might seem very broad, but I can guarantee that if you figure out who you are, what triggers you, what are the reasons as to why you're eating so much food, why you're turning to food, figure out. And sometimes it's not just that easy. I understand. I completely understand. But once you start to focus on yourself and your life, and acknowledging that you want to live a better life, by doing that, working on yourself and loving yourself, doing the physical and internal work from a place of loving yourself, you start to get a really good relationship with yourself. And it's really important that we have that. You want to live your life with a body that you feel comfortable in, with a body that you love. I lost 50 kilos because I love myself. I didn't lose 50 kilos because I hate myself. Maybe when I was overweight, yes, I did look in the mirror and I go, what the hell did I do? Why do I look like that? I can't believe I look like that. And once I started shifting my mind from shame and shifting it to a place of how can I love myself more, and how can I focus on myself more, and then I just created that respect for myself. I showed up for myself, and I have this really healthy relationship with myself. And by doing that, It gave me the respect and the boundaries to stop myself when I am overeating, because I am aware that I do emotionally eat, but I understand how that makes me feel. And if I have a positive relationship with myself, I don't want to make myself feel like that. You know, if I eat that, and there's nothing wrong with every now and then eating that, but that's beside the point. If I eat that, that's going to make me, I know how that's going to make me feel. And if I love myself, and if I'm putting myself first, and if I'm, you know, if I have this good relationship with myself, I don't want to make myself feel like that. And it's these boundaries that we make that positively impact our life. It's not just with food, it's with people. It's with choices. It's with our work. You know, are we pushing ourselves too much for someone and a job that isn't giving us that respect back, isn't paying us enough? It's the partner that isn't putting enough effort in for us. It's all of these things that once you start working on loving yourself and working on talking to yourself and figuring out why you make these decisions and why you self-sabotage, all of it comes into alignment. But it takes time to get that relationship with yourself. It takes time, but that's just part of the journey. So does losing weight. The time's going to pass anyway. You might as well focus now on starting that next journey for yourself, starting to get a better relationship with yourself, starting to talk to yourself, starting to take yourself to therapy, you know, get help when you're struggling with your life. There's cheap tools. I was able to go to my doctor and she was able to give me a 10-week therapy plan. And it didn't cost me anything. I don't know what it's like where you live. It might not be that easy, but that is a tool that was accessible to me and I used it and it bettered my life. So that is just one of the ways that I have been able to keep the weight off. If I'm being honest, getting a good relationship with myself, loving myself, doing it all because I want a better life and I want to better myself. And not just for me, but for the people around me. And so I can not waste any more years of my life, because I'm so done with wasting my time. I'm so done with wasting my life. I wasted my early 20s and I'm so done with doing that. So those are my 3 tips. And I hope that this helped. If you need me to go into anything in more detail, I'm on this channel very regularly. Ask me questions in the comments. I'm happy to answer. I'm happy to make more videos on my weight loss. I'm completely in service of this channel and helping people because I know how much of a struggle it was for me. So if you like this video, please subscribe. Please actually like the video and comment if it helped you. I also have an Instagram. It's only new. It's called Leslie's Health Diary, if you want to follow along there. And yeah, that's all I have today. So I hope that this helped and I will see you in my next video. Bye.